Welcome to the vibrant heart of Puerto Rico, Old San Juan. In this video, we're diving into everything you need to know to plan the perfect day in this historic city. From wandering the colorful cobblestone streets to indulging in mouth-watering cuisine, visiting World Heritage sites, and interacting with the local wildlife, this itinerary is packed with unforgettable experiences to make your day in San Juan truly extraordinary. Let's jump in and be sure to subscribe. We started the day by heading into the city and finding a parking structure on the outskirts so we didn't have to drive through the narrow cobblestone streets. From there we walked up to what's supposedly one of the best breakfast spots in the city, La Mallorca. And you can immediately tell how incredibly picturesque this place is with the colorful buildings and beautiful streets. As soon as you walk up to this restaurant and see the window full of pastries, you'll know you're in for a treat. The interior can seat about 40 people, and when we were there it was full and we had to wait a little bit to find a spot. My family's always excited to try new food, so we ordered a little bit of everything. In case you're not familiar, Mallorca bread is a Puerto Rican sweetbread that's soft and fluffy and has a powdered sugar on top. You can get it plain with butter, or you can get it with different meats and cheeses in it like a breakfast sandwich.
This is called Mallorca, and I got mine with bacon and egg and cheese. That's so good. I'm not used to having bacon and egg and cheese with powdered sugar on top. It's delicious.
That is so good.
That was a good start to our day in Old San Juan. Those pastries there were incredible, especially the butter one.
From there was about a 20-minute walk up to our next stop, Castillo San Felipe del Morro, which is commonly known as El Morro. One note about walking in Old San Juan, especially with kids, is that the sidewalks are pretty narrow and there's a lot of ups and downs. If you choose to drive, there is a parking structure that's relatively close, or you can take a taxi or Uber. If you can only visit one thing during your time in San Juan, then make sure it's El Morro. This place is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and it's amazing to explore. It was commissioned by Spain in 1539 and was first built as a tower before being expanded to a fort in 1595. Puerto Rico was the first major island with fresh water that ships encountered as they sailed west from Europe. The fort is overseen and ran by the National Park Service, so if you have an annual National Parks Pass, then you can use it here for entry. Due to its location and importance for military fortification in Puerto Rico, they continued to work on the fort for the next 200 years, and it protected the island's harbor from attacks during that time.
Something really cool about this fort is it actually is a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
It was designated a World Heritage Site in 1983, along with the Old City Wall and Castillo San Cristóbal, which we'll see later in this video. You could spend hours exploring this fort as there's 6 different levels, with one of my favorite being the top level because of the views you get of Old San Juan and the coastline. Here's the old lighthouse, but that's as close as you can get to it.
This place is pretty incredible. I mean, it's along the lines of Dry Tortugas when we were there, with this incredibly gorgeous scenery and this amazingly well-preserved fort. It's an amazing spot.
So after exploring the main area, you can take this walkway all the way down to the 4th floor.
I didn't count the steps down for you, but I will count them on the way up for you.
There's a lot when it's humid.
This place is blowing my mind. Look at those walls right there. Wow. Not only are the walls massive, but in some places they're 18 to 25 feet thick.
Look at the size of this wall, it's huge!
You can even see how they moved the old cannons. These are the cannon tracks right here to position them however they wanted them to be. Pops made a deep dive on this fort, which I'll link to in the description, but from here we just checked out more of the amazing views. And then walked around to see the sentry boxes, which have become a symbol of Puerto Rico, and they're even featured on the license plate.
Pops wanted to show me this tunnel that he said he did, but I don't believe that he actually did it.
Oh, I can't fit. Oh, I can't fit. Oh no, I'm fitting.
Uh-oh, shut the door, shut the door, shut the door.
Oh, I'm
That is
freaked
way
out.
too tight for him.
I'm really freaked out.
And here's what it looks like without Pops blocking it. It's a tight squeeze, but I'd say it's worth it.
We decided we should head on, so we started the walk up back to the entrance.
Normally these steps wouldn't matter, but it's about 90 right now with about 95% humidity, so it's a little tough.
I think I counted wrong because there's groups, every group of steps is 8, and I came up with 77.
That was an incredible find, so cool to see. One of the things that's really interesting is that a lot of those buildings were from the 1500s. We don't see a lot of stuff like that on our trips.
Leaving the fort, we met back up with the family and headed over to a popular photo spot in San Juan.
So if you're looking for this awesome photo spot, it's right here on the side of those 2 streets. Check that out and then come around and you get this awesome photo.
I only note that because it took me a little while to figure out where this actually was. After grabbing our photos, we decided it was time for lunch, so we walked down to another famous spot. This is Barrachina, one of the most popular restaurants in Old San Juan, and supposedly where the Pina Colada was created in 1963.
Pops is in the other room, so Amy's filling in for it. Way better looking than Pops.
Note that if you come here, this is incredibly popular and often jam-packed when cruises are in the port. Also, if you come with kids, you can get a virgin pina colada for them to try as well.
Give me a review. Oh, what's it taste like?
Pineapple,
Of course.
Usually pina coladas are way too sweet for me, but that is very rum forward.
Yeah, it's a lot different than I expected. It's more of a blend. It's not like sharp pineapple or sharp coconut. It's a good mix, and it is rum forward, but it's delicious.
2 thumbs up. That is very good. Just like everyone else said, that's worth coming for right there.
Don't just come for the pina coladas though, also be sure to try the mofongo. I recommend it with steak, but you can also get it with vegetables or even with shrimp. This is a Puerto Rican delicacy with plantains that can be boiled or roasted, and then they're mashed with salt and garlic.
But honestly, it's a very good. You should definitely try it, especially if you like garlic. It's really garlic forward, but I'm a huge fan.
Heading on, our next spot was only about a 5-minute walk away. And as you make your way there, be sure to look down the closed street towards La Fortaleza. This is where the governor lives, and it has been the Puerto Rican governor's residence since the 16th century. About a block down the street was Parque de las Palomas, also known as Pigeon Park, and a place that my kids had been excited to go to ever since they heard about it when we were researching this trip. When you enter the park, there's a small booth on the right-hand side that sells pigeon food you can purchase.
Wow, look at Pops has got all of those pigeons on him. Hey Jack, you want some more food? This is insane. These pigeons just come all over you as soon as you have the bag. Oh, buddy, nice. Wow, Jack, look at how many pigeons are around you, buddy. Wow, bud, that's so many.
You can feed them, but there is a price to play.
It might make you bleed.
Get little scratches. This is all.
Look at the danger of pigeon feeding. Pop has blood on both of his arms.
Just scratch a little bit.
Oh, well done. All right. Just throw your food if you're done. What'd you think?
It's an experience. You never have anything like this. And then now I'm done. Let's move on. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is definitely an experience my family will never forget. After feeding the pigeons, be sure to walk to the end of the park where there's a great cafe and an area for kids to play.
When you spend too much time at Pigeon Park, you might turn into one. Pops has got a feather on the side of his glasses.
I have a need for birdseed.
Something we didn't realize when we came in is on the right side of the park, you can actually see the pigeons' homes with the little boxes in the wall.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Pigeon Park is slightly terrifying, but amazing and an experience I will never forget.
It was time for the kids' nap, so they headed back to the hotel and my dad and I decided to explore a little bit more of the city. First up, be sure to stop at Anita, which is right next to Pigeon Park and has some of the best gelato I've ever had.
Whatever you do, make sure you get the hazelnut mousse crunch. They'll change your life.
One of the best things about Old San Juan is how walkable it is, and there's so much to see that it's just fun to walk around for a half day and see what you stumble upon. For example, as we were walking to the museum we were going to visit, we stumbled on a cathedral that's the second oldest in the Americas and has been here since 1540. The cathedral is immaculate and well worth walking around to see, but one of the fascinating things about it is it's where Ponce de Leon was buried. You can see the tomb and shrine of the famous Spanish explorer and conquistador on the left side of the church. After exploring the church, we headed up to Museo de las Americas, which is located inside of barracks that were built in the 1850s. An interesting side note about the barracks is that they were one of the last major architectural projects the Spanish did before the island was annexed by the United States. The museum here is located all throughout the second floor of the barracks in many different exhibit halls. If you want to learn about the indigenous people that were here before Columbus landed, this is what they were called, and there's a lot of information in the museum about them.
So, and just talking to one of the docents here too, the Spanish virtually wiped out all the Tainos, and there's like little pockets of it where people are trying to make connections to their history, but it's not like in America where there are reservations or whatever, where there's large groups of people having a particular Native American ancestry.
This museum was founded in 1992, and according to its website, it's dedicated to preserving and perpetuating Puerto Rican artists and culture. And I have to say that my dad and I spent a good hour here just wandering around and looking at all of the different exhibits. I was pretty impressed with how well laid out the exhibits are, and there was a lot of unique interpretations of the culture. We even saw a painting of the mofongo that we had eaten earlier. Sign says this is what a traditional Puerto Rican house looks like, especially when you go outside of San Juan. And this is a representation of a country chapel. After finishing our time in the museum, Pops headed back to El Morro to do some more stuff for his video, and I headed down to the old Walls of San Juan. I'm heading down to the old entrance to the city from the 1600s, but this is by far the coolest street I've found in Old San Juan so far. Look at this. This city is beautiful. That's the street I was walking down right there, and then here is the entrance to Old San Juan, the San Juan Gate. A sign by the gate stated that this is where Spanish dignitaries entered San Juan for centuries. From here, you could walk right up the street and into the cathedral we saw earlier to thank God for a safe voyage. Guys, can you even imagine this? In the 1600s, this is the walls of the old city, and you would have came and entered through the gate right here. This was one of 5 gates around the 3-mile wall that enclosed the city, and this was more of a formal or symbolic entrance, where everyday traffic, materials, and supplies went through other gates. So here's a picture. This is what it would have looked like back from the 1500s to the 1800s into the city. You would have landed here, and then you would have gone through that door to enter the city. If you have the chance, I definitely recommend this walk along the water and along the old city walls. It's just feels iconic in the city, and it's so cool to see the history. As you come around, you'll make it to the Raíces Fountain. This was installed in 1992 to commemorate the 500th anniversary of the discovery of America, and it's a meeting place and a beautiful fountain in Old San Juan. From here, I met up with my parents again, and we grabbed an Uber and took it over to Castillo San Cristóbal. Notice how humid it is by how my lens is fogging up after the air-conditioned car ride. Located about a half mile from El Morro, this is another Spanish fort that you must see. This fort has the unique qualification of being the largest fortification built by the Spanish in the New World. While it doesn't seem like it, it's actually much bigger than El Morro. I love it. You got the pirates, the sea dogs, and the buccaneers. They had better names for everything back then. I think Pops would have been a sea dog. He definitely would not have been a pirate.
Not a sea Labrador, a sea, I don't know, something mean.
Poodle?
No.
Pops would be a sea poodle.
Would not be a sea poodle.
Almost immediately, you'll see all of the tunnels that they had here to connect with all the different parts of the fort. There's a long underground passageway here that they said is used for defenses, and as you can see, who's not with me? Pops. He had nothing to do with the long underground passageway. That's cool though. So there's drawings on the walls here, and it said that it may have been from a Spanish captain who was being held here for mutiny and awaiting execution. Doesn't say the year, but wow, that's pretty crazy. You could spend hours exploring this fort too, but the other thing I definitely recommend you do is go all the way up to the top. When you make it to the top, you'll have amazing views over Old San Juan, and you'll be sitting about 150 feet above the Atlantic shoreline below you. There's more unique sentry boxes up here that you can walk out into and to see the views from. Wow, look at that view of El Morro out there, kind of shrouded in the fog. That's so cool. The last thing I did was go down into the museum portion and explore a few of the exhibits.
If you're wondering which fort to tour, by sheer grandeur, El Morro is definitely the one you cannot miss, but I would say that you need to see both of them. They're both incredible examples of history in this Old San Juan area and both well worth your time.
From here, we got an Uber back to our Airbnb, and then Amy and I went out to do one more thing in the city.
We left the kids with the grandparents, and now we're having drinks at La Factoría.
Perfect end of the night.
Calling itself Puerto Rico's premier cocktail bar, this spot has been voted one of the best bars in the entire world. Amy and I absolutely love good cocktails, so we never pass up the opportunity to have one. The vibe here is incredible, and it felt like a place you would have seen Ernest Hemingway drinking if he came to Puerto Rico. This bar is actually a collection of 6 different bars, all designed in their own way. While the menu is pretty much consistent throughout, some have different focuses, such as one that tailors to wine lovers and another that tailors to those who want to dance. We started in the main bar and then we moved over to La Cubanita for our second drink. I highly recommend you get the Lavender Mule, which comes out with a sprig of lavender on fire to add some aroma to the cocktail. It really was the perfect way to end our time in San Juan.
This awesome spot was right next to the bar that we were at, so we're ending it here. Thanks for exploring Old San Juan with us, and get that Lavender Mule. That thing was incredible. You can see all the other Puerto Rico content in the description. See you on the next one.